Hey everyone, welcome back. In our previous lesson, we talked about what Cisco ACI is and how Epic Controller acts as a brain of the fabric. Now it's time to actually see Epic in action. In this short demo, I'm going to walk you through the Epic user interface. If you are working in any data center and you have Cisco ACI Fabric deployed in your data center, so this is the main tab that you are going to see throughout your day. We are not going to configure anything yet, but this video is just a tour of the layout of the Epic and some important tab and the usage of those tabs. So let's get started. Let me log into my Epic controller. Alright, so this is the Epic dashboard, the first thing that you will see after logging in. Think of it as the health summary of the entire fabric. Here we see that there is the system health, which tells you the overall health of the fabric. Then we have nodes with health less than or equal to 99, and you can see that most of our devices are less than 99% of the health. You can further dig down to see what exactly is happening with those devices. For example, let me just give you what you can see. Let me click on one of the leaf. Now go to the health tab. Alright, so we are seeing a very nice graphical view of the system health. The system here is leaf 1, site 1, and you can see that we have critical alarms, some warnings, and some major alarms, some warnings, and some information alarms. And overall health of the system is 60%. Now the graph that you're seeing here, it is telling you that which particular component is attributing to the lower score of health. For example, there are some places where the health is 99%, and there are other places where the health is 0 and 49% or 0% again. So let's quickly get into one of those scores and see that till where we can dig in with this particular information. So let's take this layer 1 physical interface. I'll click on it. That further expands to all the interface which are showing the critical alarm and health is 0. So you can see that okay, on leaf 1 Ethernet 1/4 has some problem. Similarly, 1/5, 1/13, 1/14. So it not only tells you the overall system health, but also gives you a very good graphical view to trace down to that particular component which is causing the health of the entire system to go down. So that's a great capability you are getting here at the main dashboard itself. Now, we also have fault count by domain. For example, in access, external, framework, infra, management, which particular area has the maximum number of fault. Here we can see that, okay, tenant domain has the maximum number of faults. So I have so many tenants configured, and a lot of those configurations are moved from one interface to another interface. There are not very good mapping between the application profiles and the physical infrastructure like interfaces, etc. So that's the reason we are seeing a lot of these tenant related critical faults. If you really read all these information, then you would be able to see that okay, which domain has the maximum problem in your data center fabric, and you can start sanitization work for all those different domains one by one and get a clear view of your data center fabric. The very next window also tells you the fault count by the type. Here we are seeing that we are having so many critical configuration faults. If you want to get more details about these particular faults, then you can just click on it and it will show you all the different faults which are there. We see that in tenants we have 144 fault where configurations are failed. So we can get into the tenants one by one and start clearing these configuration faults. So this is a very good information and very powerful information that we have. Now at the bottom we see that I have one APIC controller and the operational state of this controller is available. That is what we should be seeing. And admin state is in service. Health is fully fit. Then there are other tabs like tenants, fabric, virtual networking, admin, operations, and integrations. In tenant, you define a tenant, for example, let's say we are going through ACI training. So I'm going to do all my configurations under the ACI training tab. I'll create a VRF as well with the ACI training name and I'll just submit. Once I submit, I have a tenant created. Tenant can be anything. It can be a customer that you have onboarded in your data center fabric and dedicated some resources to him. You can create a tenant and assign those resources to that particular tenant and you are good. You have a separation between the tenants. So, and these are the small capabilities that we get in ACI very easily, and these are very powerful. Then we have a fabric. Here we get to configure the physical infrastructure. Here also you can see the physical infrastructure. For example, the topology. If you click on topology, you get into this tab and you see that I have a one spine and two leaf, one border gateway device and one APIC controller. I will talk about the border gateway role in a later part of my trainings, but for now there are two important roles that we have in ACI. One is spine role and another is leaf switch role. Then I have virtual networking. Here you can integrate your Kubernetes, OpenShift, OpenStack, VMware, Nutanix, etc. cluster if you have in your data center. And once this integration is done, we call this VMM integration in ACI. Once this integration is done, there are great deal of information about those clusters that you can see on APIC controller itself. Also, it enables you to configure the networks inside those clusters, so you will have a good control for the networking inside those clusters. For example, in VMware you can configure the port group, etc. We are going to see all this configuration in later parts of the training. Then we have admin related tab where you configure AAA, scheduler, firmware upgrade and downgrade, etc. Config, rollback, import, export, all those capabilities are there under the admin tab. Then we have operation tab. In operation tab, we have visibility and troubleshooting. Here you can track the conversation between the source and destination endpoint. It will tell you the traffic path and where that particular endpoint is connected and all those information. So it is very good tool to start your troubleshooting. You can see that we can track endpoint to endpoint conversation. We can track endpoint to external IP conversation, external IP to endpoint, and external IP to external IP conversation. So that's a very good tool. Then we have capacity dashboard. It is also a very nice tool. You can see that it tells you if you go to any of the leaf switch, for example here, it tells you that how much resource is utilized for that particular leaf. For example, here we see that okay, /32 routes on this particular leaf is just 1%, less than 1% utilized. Similarly, the bridge domain scale is just 1% utilized, and all my scales are well within the limit. So this tool is also very good. Then we have endpoint tracker, visualization, and ELAM assistant also. We'll go through all these tabs when we have a little bit of traffic going on. Once we configure the endpoints, once we configure the EPGs, etc., then we'll walk through all these different tabs and try to see that how much it is helping in real-time troubleshooting. Then we have integration. We have ICE and Nexus dashboard integration that we can do with the APIC controller. And that's the quick tour of APIC UI. Just to recap, dashboard is for health, tenant is for logical policy, fabric is for physical infrastructure, operations for troubleshooting, and the admin is for system management. In next video, we'll start digging deeper into the fabric component and how everything comes online. See you there.